This might be one of the most compelling pieces of evidence that we are living in the last seconds of the last days. Trump is about to announce the transition into Phase 2 of Gaza Board of Peace plan by Christmas complete, with a 10-nation confederacy of international rulers. Revelation 17:12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, who is Jesus Christ, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. This passage in context is referring to Mystery Babylon. In Revelation 18, we see in verse 10, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Verse 17, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. Going back to Revelation 17, verse 16, and the 10 horns, referring to the 10 kings, which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, which is Mystery Babylon. And she shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For God has put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. The Board of Peace will reportedly include approximately 10 Arab Western leaders and will work alongside an international executive board composed of the following. Just make sure you have oil in your lamps. Preach and live the gospel. I believe that Jesus is coming soon. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, maybe longer. Just make sure. Let's do exactly as Jesus said. Luke 21, verse 36. Watch you therefore, and pray always, that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man.
Hello guys, David Vose here. Oh buddy, it's a beautiful day, although it's hot. And this is our month for our summer. We get summer in June here. And that's the only month where maybe for 2, 3, sometimes 4 weeks, we have this heat wave, and it gets up to 80, 90 degrees. It's not that bad, but it's hot. And that's when these little bugs come out, because it dries out for about 3 weeks. We don't get any rain. And these little gnats are flying around, and flies and things, and I don't like that. But other than the little gnats, which is not even a big problem, even a couple of mosquitoes here and there, but not much here. Not like most places. I mean, I couldn't possibly live where you got ticks and mosquitoes running all over the place and bugs and stuff. We're relatively free of that, and we've only got this 1 month. By July, we start getting the monsoon rains, and then it's over, and we have a pleasant rest of the summer all the way through fall. Anywho, guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Now, I promised I was going to do part 2 of that video I did yesterday. And, after listening to that video back I did yesterday, I really felt like it was kind of boring because it was just full of information. It was a foundation history lesson so we could get to the really fascinating, profound stuff that I was going to tell you today. I'm still going to do that video. But in the process, I woke up this morning and saw this guy's video, and I'm like, you know what? I'd never heard of this. And I'm like 99.9999% sure after investigating it that this is it. This is like, it's like they're just literally going to the Bible and forming the beast system, calling it the beast, calling it Apollo, making sure they got 10 kings on the seat of authority that's going to run the world, planning it all exactly like it's following the script of the Bible. And, well, a lot of you might say, well, then it's not real because they're just doing it. But you have to understand the Bible says that it's the Lord who puts a hook in their nose and drags them to the table. It's the Lord who puts it into their heart to burn her with fire. So they may not have any control. It's just happening by divine providence. The Lord's will shall be done, and it is being done as we speak. And yes, once you hear all of this, you'll put it all together and you'll see that it's very likely that if Trump could win this war in the next week, 2, 3 months, whatever, I'm saying by July, that will immediately bring into effect this kind of a new world order, because it's already gone into effect. I think today it's been put into effect, at least technically. So they're planning on finishing up this war real quick, or making a deal with Iran to join or something. And then, we'll talk about what'll happen after that. But if Trump then is now the president of this Council of 10 for life, you'll see this all here in a minute, these 10 kings. Trump's the leader of the world right now. Beyond a doubt, he's the Antichrist. And I think the United States then is probably the lamb, looks like a lamb, speaks like a dragon. And then we've got Gaza, which is basically Israel, as the headquarters of the New World Order, the beast system. And Trump is on the board. So, as the president, the chairman of the board. So let me just get right into this and share this with you and show you what's going on. They're planning on creating AI brain, like as if they haven't already done it, right? Supposedly. Brain or brains, these AI data centers that are going to run the New World Order, each of the data centers in a different district, to control and surveil the entire population of the world that's left after the collapse. Because I think they're going to have some kind of a collapse or something, either a financial collapse that ends up with famines. See, that helps them to pull everybody in and to agree, right? If you want food, you got to agree. And that's got to be a famine. Nobody wants this. The populists don't want this, but they're going to be forced into this. I guarantee this is going down as we speak. So let me just get right into it and show you what AI says about this confederacy of the 10 kings. What is the Gaza Board of Peace plan with a 10-nation confederacy of international rulers? This was declared in December of 2025. It's June now. Did they or are they doing this? The Gaza Board of Peace is a U.S.-backed international oversight coalition formed as part of President Trump's 20-point peace plan to end the war and transition Gaza into a new de-radicalized and non-Hamas governed territory. It is chaired by Donald Trump and includes roughly 10 to 12 international leaders and diplomats from Western and Arab states. Following its declaration and the initial ceasefire in late of 2025, the board was officially ratified and its charter adopted. Since then, the involved actors have been actively working to implement the plan, though they continue to face immense geopolitical and logistical hurdles. What they have done: charter ratification. The founding members held official meetings to inaugurate the board, and it received backing from the United Nations Security Council resolution. Committee appointments. Key figures such as former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair, Trump envoys and officials from Egypt, the UAE, and Qatar have been assigned to the Gaza Executive Board to manage the enclave's day-to-day affairs, working alongside a transitional committee of Palestinian technocrats. Interesting. Elon Musk is the head of the technocrats. Ceasefire phase. The initial ceasefire and hostage exchange phase was successfully triggered, paving the way for international security forces to gradually take over certain operations. Where it stands now, security and governance transitions. The international community is actively trying to deploy the planned International Stabilization Force, the ISF, and fully disarmed armed factions. Funding and challenges. While the overarching framework is actively being pursued. Organizers are struggling to secure concrete financial commitments for the massive reconstruction and face lingering difficulties in fully implementing the disarmament and stabilizing the territory's humanitarian situation. You can track the ongoing diplomatic progress, official statements, and structural developments through the White House press office. So I said, so Iran was in the way of this, and they attacked Iran this spring. I assume if and when they achieve this victory in the Iran war, it will go into effect. Are these international leaders a new world order government? Who are the 10 kings that will be in this international confederacy? The conflict with Iran, which began in late February of 2026, has significantly delayed the implementation of Gaza Board of Peace. While the plan remains the official U.S.-backed framework, the war has frozen key negotiations and slowed the deployment of the International Stabilization Force. The status of the Gaza Peace Plan, June 2026. Oh, and by the way, you remember when Trump said, you Christians just need to vote one more time? You won't never have to vote again? I am absolutely beyond a doubt. I will practically guarantee you that that is their plan. There will not be any more voting once this goes into effect. And that puts Trump as the president, leader, de facto king of the world. He's the leader of a council of 10 kings for life. And that's already happened. We don't have to wait till 2029. This is, I guess, actually went into effect today on the 11th. Trump is now the king of the world. And so we're not going to be voting anymore, anywhere. So, as of June 11th, 2026, the plan is in phase 2, which focuses on reconstruction and disarmament, but it faces major roadblocks. Stalled progress. Disarmament talks with Hamas were reportedly paused due to the war in Iran, though the White House officially denies a halt. Logistical failures. No countries have yet provided the 20,000 troops pledged for the stabilization force, as Arab and Muslim leaders are hesitant to cooperate while the Iran conflict continues. Recent developments. On June 10th, 2026, reports surfaced that Hamas has partially accepted new proposals to restart negotiations. The 10 Kings and the International Confederacy. The Board of Peace is not a New World Order government, but a U.S.-led transitional body designed to oversee Gaza's reconstruction and eventual self-governance within 10 years. While some critics argue it sidelines the UN, it has received UN Security Council endorsement. The Board of Peace structure involves 2 distinct executive groups. There is no official confederacy of 10 kings, but the following 12 key figures make up the senior leadership, founding executive board and Gaza executive board. So 2 of them aren't part of the 10. One of them is Trump, and he's the president. So, anyway, it's got the chairman, Donald Trump, president of the United States. The high representative is Nikolai Mladenov, former UN Mideast envoy, which is, I think, Bulgaria. Then you have Marco Rubio, U.S. Secretary of State. Jared Kushner, former senior advisor, who is Jewish. Steve Witkoff is the special envoy to the Middle East. He's from the United States. Tony Blair, former UK Prime Minister. Hakan Fidan, Foreign Minister of Turkey. Hassan Rashad, Director of Egypt's General Intelligence Agency. We've got Reem al-Hashimi, a UAE minister. Ali al-Fawadi, Qatari diplomat. AJ Banga, World Bank president, and Mark Rowan, CEO of Apollo Global Management. Apollo means destruction, or the Antichrist. Additional 26 countries, including Saudi Arabia, Hungary, and Indonesia, have formally joined the board. A permanent seat on the board requires a $1 billion contribution to the Gaza Reconstruction Fund. I said, what is Apollo Global? Apollo Global Management is a massive American asset management firm and a world leader in alternative investment. As of March 31st, 2026, the firm manages approximately $1.3 trillion in assets. What? Specializing in private equity, credit, and real assets like infrastructure and real estate, business and operations. Apollo operates by investing money on behalf of pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, and individual investors into high growth or complex sectors. Its core business is divided into three main areas: asset management, investing in alternative assets like private companies, buyouts, and distressed debt; retirement solutions through its subsidiary Athene. It provides retirement savings products and annuities; principal investing, directly using its own capital alongside clients to fund large-scale projects such as a recent $35 billion platform for AI infrastructure. AI infrastructure. Connection to the Gaza peace plan. Apollo's CEO, Mark Rowan, is a key figure on the Gaza Board of Peace. In early 2026, Rowan presented an economic overhaul plan for Gaza that treats the territory's reconstruction as a massive investment opportunity. Real estate valuation. Rowan estimated Gaza's real estate value, including its coastline and housing, at over $115 billion, stating it simply needs to be unlocked and financed. Proposed infrastructure. His plan includes an initial phase of 100,000 housing units and $5 billion in infrastructure, eventually scaling to 400,000 homes and $30 billion in total investment. Financial role. While Apollo itself is a private firm, Rowan's role on the board positions him as the primary strategist for managing the financial and logistical aspects of the territory's redevelopment. I said, who is AJ Banga? AJ Banga is the current president of the World Bank Group, a position he held since June 2nd, 2023, an India-born American business executive. He previously served as the CEO of MasterCard for over a decade. On the Gaza Board of Peace, Banga serves on the founding executive board. His primary responsibilities overseeing the Gaza Reconstruction and Development Fund, which is housed at the World Bank in this capacity. He acts as a fiduciary trustee, managing the large-scale financial contributions from international donors, including a $10 billion pledge from the U.S., and ensuring they are dispersed for authorized reconstruction projects. Key career and background. World Bank leaders nominated by the U.S. to transform the institution into a more agile partner focused on job creation and climate-related development. Corporate experience. Spent 12 years at MasterCard, held senior leadership roles at Citigroup and Nestle India. Dual role controversy. His participation in the Trump-led Board of Peace has sparked international and external debate regarding the World Bank's political neutrality, though Banga maintains his role is strictly technical and authorized by the UN Security Council resolution. Would you like to know more about the $10 billion Gaza Reconstruction Fund? I said, are each of these persons representing 10 different nations? I see Egypt, Turkey, India. Is Nikolay Mladinov Russian? I see Marco Rubio, USA, and Tony Blair. Britain, Jared Kushner, Jewish, UAE, Qatari, etc. They said the Board of Peace is not a confederacy of 10 nations, but a broader international organization led by the United States that currently includes approximately 25 to 27 member nations. While there are 10 core kings or senior leaders frequently highlighted in its top tier executive boards, the members represent a mix of governments and private sectors rather than a strict 1-to-1 ratio of 10 specific nations. Key nationalities and representation. The individuals you mentioned are mostly senior political figures or diplomats representing their respective countries or international roles. Nikolay Mladenov is Bulgarian, not Russian. He is a former Bulgarian foreign minister and UN Middle East envoy who now serves as the High Representative for Gaza. Marco Rubio and Steve Witkoff represent the United States. Tony Blair is the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Hakan Fidan represents Turkey. Hassan Rashad represents Egypt. Reem al-Hashimi represents the United Arab Emirates, UAE. Ali al-Thawadi represents Qatar. Ajab Banga, while born in India, represents the World Bank Group. Jared Kushner is an American advisor. And Mark Rowan and Yakir Gabe are private business leaders, USA and Israel, Cyprus, respectively. Member nations. While the 10 kings terminology often appears in critical or prophetic interpretations of the plan, the official body is composed of dozens of states that have signed its charter. The Middle East, Egypt, Jordan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, UAE, Bahrain, Israel, Kuwait, Americas, United States, Argentina, Paraguay, El Salvador. Asia, Indonesia, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Mongolia. Europe, Bulgaria, Hungary, Albania, Kosovo, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. The 10-nation concept. The 10-nation idea likely stems from the International Stabilization Force, which the board aims to form. Several nations, including Albania, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Kosovo, and Morocco, have pledged to send troops for this 20,000 soldier force, while Egypt and Jordan have agreed to train local police. Most major Western European nations, such as France and Germany, have notably declined or distanced themselves from the board. I said, I don't see Russia or China. Is this purposely? The exclusion of Russia and China from the active operations of the Board of Peace is indeed purposeful and stems from a significant diplomatic rift at the United Nations. While President Trump did formally invite Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping to join the board in January of 2026, both nations have effectively sidelined themselves or outright declined. Why they are not involved. Opposition to imperial structure. Both Russia and China have publicly criticized the board as a colonial or imperial body that undermines the United Nations Security Council. They argue the board places Gaza under a trusteeship that ignores Palestinian sovereignty. Refusal to join. In January of 2026, China formally declined its invitation, stating it would only support conflict resolution mechanisms that operate strictly within the UN Charter. Russia has expressed skepticism, questioning how a US-led board with Trump as a chairman for life can coexist with established international law. Abstention from support. When the UN Security Council voted on Resolution 2803, which endorsed the peace plan in November of 2025, both Russia and China abstained. They refused to vote yes because the plan lacked a clear role for the UN and failed to guarantee a time frame for the creation of a sovereign Palestinian state. The 10 kings versus the actual membership. So they don't want a Palestinian state, obviously. While the terminology of 10 kings is often used by critics or observers to describe the senior executive leadership, the board actually consists of 25 nations that have paid for pledged support to join. The countries that have joined are largely those with strong ties to the Trump administration or specific regional interests such as Israel, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the UAE, Hungary, Argentina, major global powers like China, Russia, the UK, France, and Germany are notably absent from the official membership list. The UK and France? I said, if their plans of this succeeds, to make this a ruling body, are they being called kings? They said the Gaza Board of Peace is officially a transitional body, but its charter and recent administrative action suggest it is designated or designed to become a permanent global ruling organization. While it is currently focused on Gaza, its long-term ambition is to replace or compete with the United Nations in resolving global conflicts, transition to a ruling body. The board is already functioning as a ruling body for the Gaza Strip, as it oversees the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, the transitional government of Palestinian technocrats. Oh, there's the technocrats of Elon again. The German-born technocrats, which is Silicon Valley, of course. Chairman for life. President Trump has declared himself the chairman for life of the board, holding absolute veto power over its resolutions and membership. Beyond Gaza, its charter uses universal language. Well, then as of June of 2026, June 11th, Trump is now the official king of the world. If this is the ruling body of the world, and he has that veto power, is the chairman of the board, the president, with veto power, the leader of this 10 kings, then he is the Antichrist. Beyond Gaza, its charter uses universal language. The Trump has explicitly stated the board will expand to address other regions, including the Arctic and the Ukraine. Replacement for the UN. Administration officials and Trump himself have described the board as a faster, more executive alternative to the ineffective United Nations. The King's terminology. Well, that means the United States were wrong again. They thought the UN was the 10 nations that ruled the world. The King's terminology. The term kings has entered the discussion through two primary channels. Trump's rhetoric in December of 2025, that was just a few months ago. President Trump told reporters that the kings, the presidents, and prime ministers were all eager to join the board, which he called one of the most legendary boards ever. I mean, they are literally, most of them, kings. Those individuals over there in Saudi Arabia, they declare themselves kings. Public and religious interpretation. Because the board was launched with a core group of approximately 10 to 12 international leaders, the founding executive board, many religious and prophetic observers have linked it to the biblical 10 kings who hand their power to a central figure. This terminology is frequently used by critics on social media to describe the board as the New World Order or the neo-colonial structure of the International Confederacy. The board has a tiered structure that concentrates power among a small group of permanent members. Permanent membership. Nations that contribute $1 billion to the Gaza Reconstruction and Development Fund receive a permanent seat. Rotating members. Nations that do not pay the fee are limited 3-year terms. Staffing. It is currently headquartered in Washington, D.C., in the former U.S. Institute of Peace Building, which has been rebranded as a Board of Peace facility. Since Apollo Global, Mark Rowan is investing or to control AI, is this linked creating AI data centers all over? Yes, Mark Rowan and Apollo Global Management are central players in the massive global expansion of AI data centers. And this infrastructure is a core component of the new Gaza vision overseen by the Board of Peace. The link between their global AI investments and the Gaza plan is a strategy of tech-driven governance, where the territory is rebuilt as a high-tech smart city hub. Apollo's global AI expansion. Apollo is currently spearheading some of the largest private investments in AI history to build out the digital backbone of the global economy. The AI XPV, all the X's, like SpaceX and XRP and XLR and XPV, they're all connected to the X, the curse. The XPV platform. On June 9th, 2026, Apollo, the destruction, Apollo is Apollyon or Apollo in the Bible is the Antichrist. And Blackstone launched a $35 billion platform with Broadcom designed to fund over 20 gigawatts of AI compute capacity globally by 2028. Massive tranches. The first 35 billion tranche is already being used to expand infrastructure for leading AI labs like Anthropic and OpenAI. Semiconductor hubs. Apollo previously invested 11 billion into a joint venture for Intel's advanced Fab 34 facility in Ireland to secure the chip supply chain necessary for these data centers. The link to the Gaza Peace Plan. As a key member of the Board of Peace Executive Committee, Mark Rowan has integrated this AI-centric model into the reconstruction of Gaza. Smart city infrastructure. The master plan for Gaza, frequently referred to as the Gaza Riviera, replaces traditional residential layouts with zones dedicated to high-tech data centers. Each zone is got a high-tech data center to control it, industrial complexes, and advanced manufacturing. Tech-driven governance. The plan envisions a physical technological interface using AI for broader management and a digital stable coin, sometimes called a Gaza coin, for all transactions, effectively placing the territory's economy on a blockchain managed by the board. Economic unlocking. Rowan has stated that Gaza represents 115 billion in unlocked value, with the coastline alone worth 50 billion once it is transformed from a war zone into an investment center powered by this new infrastructure. While Apollo's global AI projects are commercial ventures, the Gaza plan serves as a real-world application of their vision for privatized tech-managed territories. Would you like more detailed look at how the AI-powered border management for the Gaza stablecoin are intended to work? I said, is AI XPV like XRP? Will they work together or will it replace it? And then they won't tell me. They say, here are top websites. So I don't want to look at websites. I ain't got time for that. So I said, can you give an answer on this XPV? They said the AI XPV platform is not a cryptocurrency like XRP, and they currently serve entirely different purposes. While XRP is a digital asset for financial transactions, AI XPV is a 35 billion physical infrastructure and financing platform launched by Broadcom, Apollo Global Management, and Blackstone. Remember, Blackstone is at the North Pole, the Black Rock, to build the hardware needed for artificial intelligence. AI XPV platform versus XRP. The names share similar letters, but their roles in the tech economy are distinct. So XPV platform and then the XRP are Ripple. What is it? A private capital hardware platform is what the XPV is. A building financial AI data centers, Apollo, Blackstone, Broadcom, Anthropic, finances, the chips, the XPUs. Oh, the XPUs and data hubs. But the XRP is a decentralized digital currency facilitating fast global payments. Ripple Labs, global banks, crypto traders, increasingly used by AI agents for automated payments. Will they work together or replace each other? There is no evidence that the AI XPV is intended to replace XRP. Instead, they are part of a growing AI plus crypto ecosystem where specialized hardware and digital money may eventually overlap. Complementary role, the XPV platform provides the brain power, computer capacity for AI like Anthropic and OpenAI XRP, is positioning itself to be the wallet for those AIs, allowing them to pay for services autonomously using new tools like Ripple's AI payment toolkit. Infrastructure for smart cities. In the context of the Gaza Board of Peace, Mark Rowan's vision involves using AI XPV funded data centers to power the planned smart cities. Within those cities, all services and transactions are expected to be digital, and while it hasn't been confirmed if XRP specifically will be used, Ripple's technology is often considered for such large-scale financial plumbing. The XPV in the platform's name likely refers to X platform virtualization or is a branding choice for the Broadcom's XPU AI accelerator chips. It is not a ticket for a new coin designed to kill XRP. Would you like to know more about the AI-powered smart cities? Smart cities. Or the digital ID systems planned for the Gaza Ring? I said, doesn't Anthropic include the word anthro? Is that like the word human or andro, like Android, our phone? You said brain power, robots. You said artificial intelligence, open AI. Is this like a brain for the New World Order? The name Anthropic is derived directly from the Greek word anthropos, meaning human. While it shares roots with the anthropology, the study of humans, it is distinct from andro, which typically refers to male or man, as an android for androgynous. The company chose this name to reflect its mission of building the AI that is aligned with the human values. I think it's a human brain that's going to run the world, or a alternative humanoid. Paul calls him the man of sin, and the book of Revelation says it's the number of a man, and his number is 603 score and six. So it's a man, and this is the andro or anthropomorphous brain that's going to run the world, and it will speak. They'll literally bring it to life and have artificial human intelligence running the world. The brain power and robots. The brain power metaphor is used because modern AI models like Anthropic's Claude and OpenAI's GPT are built on neural networks inspired by the biological structure of the human brain. Robotics integration. Anthropic has recently demonstrated that its AI can act as the brain for physical machines in a 2025 experiment called Project Fetch. Anthropic used Claude to perform and control robot dogs to retrieve objects autonomously. Hardware and AI. This is why firms like Apollo Global Management are investing in AI XPV data centers, plural. They are building the massive physical brain or brains, servers, and chips that these AI systems need to function. Is this a brain for the New World Order? In the context of the Gaza Board of Peace, critics and observers have raised concerns that these technologies could be used for a centralized global governance system. Centralized oversight. The Board of Peace plan includes using AI for broader management, security, and economic tracking in Gaza. Technological governance. Some interpret the involvement of frontier AI labs like Anthropic and OpenAI, who are now coordinating with the Pentagon and the White House on AI safety and national security, as the beginning of the technocratic ruling structure. AI safety, AI labs, the beginning of the technocratic ruling structure. A superintelligent New Deal. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has even proposed a global policy shift where AI wealth is redistributed through a public wealth fund, which some see as a step towards a unified global economy. Would you like more details on the biometric digital AI ID system or the AI governed border proposed for the new Gaza territory? Woo-hoo-hoo. You could say this is the beast, and it will speak. And the 10 horns, or kings, will burn Babylon with fire then. The old world system. When is this planned? And if they win the Iran war, could it basically go into effect after soon? And this leaves Russia, Iran, and China as the kings of Gog and Magog and the kings of the East. Well, as of June 11th, 2026, the Gaza Board of Peace is officially active but stalled, as its progress is now inextricably tied to the expanding war with Iran. While the board was inaugurated with great fanfare in early 2026, the current conflict has shifted global focus and frozen key implementation steps. The current status and the Iran conflict. The success of the peace plan effectively depends on the outcome of the broader regional conflict. Stalled Phase 2. The transition to Phase 2, which requires the total disarmament of Hamas and large-scale reconstruction, is currently suspended. Active war as of today. Today, U.S. and Iranian forces are trading direct strikes, with Iran recently closing the Strait of Hormuz. Post-war implementation. Analysis suggests that if the U.S. and its allies achieve a decisive victory or a favorable negotiated settlement in the Iran war, the Board of Peace will likely move to immediately enforce its mandate, which includes deploying a 20,000-soldier international stabilization force. The 10 Kings and geopolitical interpretations. The term 10 Kings is not an official designation, but the board's top-tier executive leadership consists of 7 to 12 primary figures. President Trump has fueled this terminology by describing the members as the heads of the most important countries, kings, heads of state, and presidents. It goes through the basic leaders: Donald Trump, Nikolay Mladenov, Jared Kushner, Sir Tony Blair, A.J. Banga, Steve Witkoff, Mark Rowan. We've seen that. But the Kings of the East alignment. Your observation regarding Russia, Iran, and China aligns with the current unholy alliance described by some political analysis. Opposition bloc, Russia and China, have notably declined invitations to join the board, citing concerns that it undermines the United Nations and acts as a colonial ruling body. Conflict alignment. While the Board of Peace brings together over 25 nations, including Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey, the opposing side consists primarily of Iran and its Axis resistance, supported diplomatically and economically by Russia and China. Would you like to see a map of the current U.S. and Iranian strike zones to see how close they are to the proposed Board of Peace territories? I said, well, how would Gog of Magog have Egypt, Turkey, and Jordan and Libya on its confederacy, as the Bible says, since Egypt and these nations seem to be on board with the Gaza plan or Apollo destruction AI plan? The presence of Egypt, Turkey, Jordan, and Libya in a confederacy led by Gog of Magog would represent a total collapse of their current Western-backed status. While these nations are presently members of the Gaza Board of Peace or the Apollo infrastructure plans, biblical and geopolitical analysis suggests three main ways they could shift into the Gog coalition. The hook and the jaws realignment. The prophecy in Ezekiel 38 describes God putting hooks into the jaws of these nations to drag them into a conflict they might not have initially wanted. That's another verse that coincides with that, where it says he puts it into the hearts of the 10 kings to burn her with fire. So what they're doing, our Heavenly Father is putting it into their hearts. And here's another one. He puts hooks in their jaws and drags them into the conflict that they might not have initially wanted to be in. So this is all being orchestrated by the Lord Jesus Christ. For nations like Turkey and Egypt, this could be triggered by economic collapse if the Apollo AI plan or the Board of Peace fails to deliver prosperity, or if hyperinflation hits. These regimes may fall to radical internal revolutions and align with Russia, Magog, and Iran, Persia. The Iran war outcome. If the current war with Iran leads to an axis of resistance, victory, or a massive regional backlash against the U.S., these nations may be forced to switch sides for survival. Turkey's dual role, Gomer and Beth Togarmah. Turkey is unique because it is identified in the prophecy as both Gomer and Beth Togarmah. Despite its current membership in the Board of Peace, Turkey's leadership has frequently expressed a desire to restore the Ottoman Empire's glory. This ambition often places it in direct ideological conflict with Western interests, making a future pivot toward a Russo-Iranian alliance, or the Kings of the North, a strategic possibility once the peace phase fails. The Put and Kush connection, Libya and Sudan. While Libya Put is currently fragmented, prophetic scholars note that, along with Sudan, Kush is a hotbed of radicalization, even if their current governments are on board. With international plans today, a sudden regime change, similar to the Arab Spring, could overnight place their military resources into the hands of Gog coalition. The geopolitical split, June 2026, currently the world is split into two clear camps. The Board of Peace Confederacy, led by the U.S., including Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, UAE, Saudi Arabia, focusing on AI-driven smart city governance and reconstruction. The opposition bloc, led by Russia and China, who have declined the board's invitation, and Iran, who is currently at war with the West. Prophetically, the transition from the current peace board to the Gog war is often viewed as the moment when the peace treaty is broken, and these allies of convenience turn against Israel to seize its wealth and resources. Would you like to see a comparison of the military forces currently stationed in Egypt and Turkey versus those of the Russia-Iran alliance? I said the peace is broken thing comes from the Daniel verse at the half of the week, but I believe this was fulfilled by Jesus, the prince who dies with nothing for himself. Is it because it mentions a prince that will break the covenant? Isn't that Jesus who makes a new covenant? So not sure that fits. I do think Antichrist will betray Christians and wear out the saints. I mean the great multitude, those that he puts to death because they won't worship the beast. They said, you've hit on a major point of debate in theology. Your view is called the Christological or preterist, well, I'm not a preterist, view that Jesus is the prince who confirmed the covenant, the new covenant, and caused the sacrifice to cease by the death on the cross, fulfilling Daniel 9:27. However, the reasons people link the Board of Peace to a future betrayal is based on a different interpretation, where the prince that shall come is a future world leader, the Antichrist. Here is how that fits into the current scenario with the Board of Peace and the Iran war. The two princes. Many scholars point out that Daniel 9 26 and 27 mentions two different figures. Messiah the Prince who was cut off, Jesus, and the Prince that shall come, whose people, the Roman Europeans, destroy the city. Those who see a future betrayal argue that if the people were Roman, the future prince must come from a revived Roman system, which is exactly how some describe the international confederacy of Western and Arab nations currently forming the board. I do see the prince that is to come as the Antichrist, but that's not the same as the prince that was the Messiah that's cut off. 2, wearing out the saints. By the way, they're both cut off. Jesus dies with nothing for himself and then returns who is coming. He was and is coming. The Antichrist was but is not. He dies, rises out of the bottomless pit, and is to go off into the everlasting abyss or destruction. So he will wear out the saints, 725. This aligns with the idea of the technocratic or AI-driven system. The AI connection. If the Board of Peace implements the AI XPV and biometric ID systems discussed earlier, by the way, they're already doing it as of, I guess, 2 days ago in Mexico. You have to have the ID system and you can't buy or sell without it. It creates a world where you cannot buy or sell without being part of the system. The betrayal. In this view, the peace isn't just a treaty, it's a security agreement. The betrayal happens when the leader of this confederacy stops being a peacekeeper and demands total worship or submission using the AI infrastructure to track and wear out those who resist, or the saints. The shift of Egypt and Turkey. If the Board of Peace is the world system, Babylon, the Bible suggests it eventually gets destroyed by the very 10 kings who started it in Revelation 17:16. The realignment. This might explain how nations like Egypt and Turkey move from the peace board to the Gog and Magog camp if the U.S.-led system collapses or turns beast-like. These nations may realize they've been deceived and join the Russo-Iranian Magog alliance to strike back at the system they once helped build. In short, while Jesus fulfilled the sacrificial law, many believe a future counterfeit prince will mimic that timeline to deceive the world with a false peace before the final wearing out begins. If that's true in any sense, that they mimic the whole 7 years, we've already gone through the first 3.5 years of Trump's presidency, and they've already been setting this up. The actual Great Tribulation is the last 3.5 years, so that wouldn't make much of a difference. But do you think the current Iran war is the rumors of war that leads to the false peace, or is it the beginning of the end of the world system, or the old system, world system? I said, I'm not a preterist. We're all still waiting for the final 3.5 year period for Antichrist. He comes up in the midst of the 10 and uproots the first 3 kings. Maybe that is Turkey and Egypt and Iran or something. Then there remains the 7 heads of the beast, but this supposes the burning of Babylon, the Jewish system, Zechariah 5, Revelation 18, which comes first, then the little horn rises. The Board of Peace has moved from a declaration into an active administrating body as of June 11th, 2026. So it's already begun, guys, as of, I guess, today. Though its progress is currently deeply impacted by the war in Iran, President Trump officially inaugurated the board in January of 2026 during a ceremony in Davos. Oh, it's related to Davos, and that's where CERN and the Swiss bank and all this is going on in that area. Or Bavarian Illuminati, after announcing the move, which is where they made the internet, to phase 2 of the Gaza plan just before Christmas of 2025. Geopolitical and prophetic alignment. Your view on the little horn uprooting 3 kings aligns with the common interpretation of Daniel 7:8, where a future leader rises from among 10 and displaces 3. The 10 kings and uprooting. The Board of Peace currently features approximately 10 to 12 primary leaders on its executive council. If this structure mirrors your interpretation, the rise of a little horn figure would happen after this confederacy is established. Well, that would make, if there's 12 and one rises to be 13, he uproots 3, that would bring us back down to 10. Huh. The Iran War, or 7, 10 kings, 7 heads, I don't know. The Iran War variable. The ongoing conflict with Iran is seen by some as a catalyst that could lead to the collapse or uprooting of the regional powers. Nations like Egypt and Turkey, while currently on the board, are in volatile positions. A shift in their leadership or alignment could fulfill the uprooting you described before the final 3 and a half-year period begins. Babylon and the Jewish system. Your perspective that Babylon, the current system, must be destroyed first, aligns with the idea that the old world order is being burned away to make room for this new tech-driven confederacy. The Board of Peace is often described by critics as a business board that aims to replace traditional religions or religious and national sovereignty with a new global governance model, where the plan stands now, June 2026. Active governance. I mean, you Christians that are backing this, he just said they're going to replace religion with their organization. They've got 10 kings. They're going to have a world order with AI data set. You don't see something going on here? Oh my goodness, you fools. The board is currently supervising the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, 15-member Palestinian technocratic body. There's Elon's technocratic body. The 7 heads, following the potential uprooting of 3 leaders, the remaining 7 members of the 10-leader core would match the 7 heads of the beast described in Revelation. Stalled by war while the board is active, the deployment of its 20,000-soldier international stabilization force has been delayed due to the logistical demands of the Iran war. Do you think that the Iran war is the fire that will burn the old system? Or is it just the first of the 3 uprootings you are watching for? I wonder if Jared Kushner could be the false prophet. Although I really think the false prophet, well, he is from the United States, evidently. And I think that the United States is the lamb that speaks like the dragon, or maybe Israel that is making this. So probably the United States is the lamb that looks like the dragon, and the beast is AI that will speak. But the Antichrist is most definitely Donald Trump. And I suspect he will die. Trump will probably be assassinated very soon. And yeah, it could be that there will be a nuclear, or, certainly the Al-Aqsa Mosque or the Dome of the Rock will be hit, burned with fire. There might be another bomb here and there in the United States, different places of the world burning up, collapse. The economic system's got to collapse to start the new system. So all of this is about to happen, guys. But I'm gonna go ahead and go, guys. This is really going down. You got to really get your family together and get around the kitchen table and figure out what you're going to do. You need to have a contingency plan, even if you're not ready or prepared just to leave and go into the woods right now. You need to buy some land. I don't even know if you have time at this point. So you need to prepare, guys, because things are going down. You need to understand that when there's no food, you have to go to the government to get food. You got to, get a mark in your hand, to your forehead, something, even if we don't know exactly what they're going to do, that's the scenario you're looking at. You need your own food. You need a garden. You need to get out of the world. And if you're saying, well, there's no way I could eat, I'd starve to death because I don't know anything about foraging for food. Well, listen, come out here and get some land. You could do it within a day or 2. Go on Zillow with all your savings or whatever you got. You got to do this. What do you got to lose? If I'm wrong and you do that, what happens? You're still alive and you got some land. You could resell it. You can probably make a profit. But that's, of course, not the way to think. If you're a real Christian, you wouldn't be thinking that way. But I'm just saying, what literally have you got to lose? Because if I'm right, you'll save your life and your children, your family. You won't go through this great tribulation, be tortured or beheaded or starved to death or have to watch your family, die in front of you and stuff. Be taken off to some concentration camp. Okay, maybe it won't happen for a while. Maybe you won't be rounded up yet. Won't be till next year. That gives you a little time, but you better do something soon. So anyway, I'll try to get that other video up tomorrow. It's very important. It's a very eye-opening video that I wanted to do for you today, and I've got some others lined up. The most unbelievable revelations that I've been having that I want to share with you soon. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. You know the Lord loves you very much. And His grace and His peace will always be with you. I guarantee it. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, guys.